Hi friends, thanks for joining me this morning for this next lesson in our series about the people of God moving through the Old Testament. This story is called the Ark and the Temple. The people of God came into the promised land. When David became king, he gathered all of the people of God from the north and the south into one group. He took Jerusalem from the Jebusite people and called it the city of David. David and the people of God began to live in Jerusalem. But something was missing. It was the ark. David and his army went to get the ark. When they brought the ark in through the gates, King David danced before the ark of God. David then set up a tent of meeting and put the ark inside. But David was not allowed to build a house for God because he was a man of war. His son Solomon would build the temple, and all of the people of Israel got to help. Some went to the north, to Lebanon, to cut down and bring home great cedar trees. Some people went to the mountains. They cut great stones and brought them back. They prepared the stone and the wood for building the temple. The temple began to grow, and the people were amazed. There was a great hall for people to come close to God. There was even an inner room called the Holy of Holies. The high priest entered only one time in a year, on the Day of Atonement. That was the holiest day of the year. The temple was beautiful, with carvings of olive wood and gold, timbers of cedar made it smell wonderful. Inside the temple were the same things that helped them get ready to meet God when they were in the desert. The ark was carried inside by the priest. Here is the altar for incense, and fragrant smoke would fill the temple as the incense burned. Here is the table for the bread for each of the 12 tribes of Israel. And finally, here is the menorah with its 7 branches and lamps burning. On the day that the priests first carried the ark inside, a great cloud of dazzling light filled the temple. God was there. In the front of the temple was the altar for sacrifice, as it had been in the front of the tent. Only now it was bigger. The same was true for the great basin of water called the laver. On the day that everything was ready, the king came before all the people and prayed. He said, "O Lord God of Israel, there is no God like you in heaven above or on earth beneath, keeping covenant and showing steadfast love to your servants, who walk before you with all their hearts. But will God indeed dwell on earth? Behold, heaven and highest heaven cannot contain you. How much less the house which I have built? Yet have regard for the prayer of your servant and to his supplication." Solomon stood in front of the people and before God, and he asked God to allow God's name to abide in the temple. He asked God to make this a place where the people could come to pray and to find justice. Solomon ruled well and was wise. Some said he was wiser than anyone in the world. His father had been famous for his songs and for war. But Solomon was famous for his wise sayings and for building the temple. Finally, after being king for 40 years, Solomon died and was buried in the city of David, where his father was buried, and Solomon's son was made king. Now, I wonder what part of this story you like best. I wonder if we have everything we need for this story. And I wonder if there's any part of this story that you would like to take out, or that you may still have questions about. I'd love to hear about it on our call this week. We'll see you on Sunday.